So Tesla is obviously like no other company. Duh. Okay. But up until now, Gary Black and Herbert Ong and others like me have listed catalysts from time to time that, well, they just seem so much like other companies, like normal kinds of catalysts, like better numbers or new product or a big event and so on. Well, Tesla now has, according to Elon Musk, the greatest lineup of new products of any company now or in history. Therefore, we need to have a new way of thinking about catalysts. I mean, Apple announced that new headset, that new, and that was a catalyst. I mean, it may not have responded like a catalyst because it wasn't exactly what folks were expecting, but it was the kind of announcement that I'm talking about that if it is successful, can move the stock, in Tesla's case, 20, 30, 40 points in a day. There are very few catalysts like that around. That could have been one of them. It didn't turn out to be so. All right, so I'm not talking about these little catalysts. These are what I'm going to call Giga Catalysts. I'm going to do two of these lists. This will be the first list of 10. Believe it or not, there are 20 Giga Catalysts that are almost certainly going to happen within the next 18 months. Almost every single item that I'm going to list, you tell me. Say, no, Randy, that's not going to happen with 18 months. I think you'll find all 20 of these will happen with 18 months. And then I might come out with another list later in the month, or maybe next month. I might come up with another list that might be mega catalysts. Those would be more of the normal kinds. And you could even have just a regular list of catalysts that aren't mega or giga, but who knows if I'll ever get into that. Anyway, let's start off here. This is Randy Kirk. If you think this is kind of a cool idea, then hit like and hit subscribe, hit notify. You want to be reminded of all those. Every single morning at 7:10, you want to be reminded to be sure and listen to what's going on for the day. And of course, all my good guests and everything else. So hit notify. And then of course, Patreon. I'm not sure I'm recording this in advance. I'm not sure where we are on the Patreon situation, but the last time I looked, we were at 89, only needing 11 to go by Monday. So help out. I put up another additional information, like for instance, these 20 have already been up there since Tuesday, and all 20 of them. Okay, so you could have already seen them. You could have already thought them through. Maybe you would have still wanted to watch the video so you could see my explanation, but those are already up. So if you join Patreon, you'll be able to see the other 10 right now. And of course, it's free to do that for 7 days. And then you can decide to spend $5 or $10 a month if you choose to. All right, let's start out here. Giga Catalysts, in order sort of impact on the market and timing. So I had to kind of blend those two, not just whether it could move the stock by 10 points or by 50 points or maybe by 100 points. You can imagine some of these could move the stock by 100 points, I mean, literally, as you'll see. But also, what's the timing? I didn't want to put in something that could move the stock by 100 points, but won't happen for 12 months, number one. So I kind of juggled those two. Okay, does that make sense? If you hate that idea, just let me know down below in the comments. By the way, I really am looking forward to your comments on this one. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So number one, the most important, the one that will move the stock market the most, and which I believe could happen within a month, within 6 months, within 12 months. Don't know when. Almost certainly less than 12 months, and maybe before the end of this year. You ready? Okay, here comes number one, and maybe 100 points, maybe 200, maybe double the stock. Optimist reveal with orders open for leases at least $50,000 per year. That's the prediction. Been my prediction for a while. When will this announcement be made? Will it be at AI Day 3, maybe on October 31st, or maybe later in the year because it'll interfere with the introduction of the Cybertruck or the handover, the Cybertruck or something else. But anyway, last year was October 30th or 31st, I think 31st. Are there 30 days in September? No, October has 31 days. Anyway, so I think it could be October 31st this year, and that's one of the possible days when they would do a full-on reveal and say, okay, orders are open. Now, Elon says he's not going to start building them and putting them to work in the factory till next year. So I'm good with that. So maybe it'll be, next March or April before this thing happens. But when it does, the stock will go nuts, because once people can put a number to this, they'll start figuring out, oh my gosh, it'll be the biggest single product in history, creating the single biggest company in history, even if it was all by itself. All right, number 2, Elon Musk drives a Tesla from coast to coast as promised in the back seat, or the car has no steering wheel or accelerator or brake. Okay, I mean, something that's going to make it obvious that he is not driving it, is driving itself, and he takes it from coast to coast in cities, on country roads, on curvy roads, on freeways, on and off of underpasses and overpasses, and some of the crazy cities you and I have been in where you think you're going to get lost before you get halfway downtown. Anyway, it's got to be a decent drive, coast to coast as promised. And when that happens, it's the same as if he was to say, Tesla is now going to be liable when full self-driving is in use. Those are the kinds of things I'm looking for him to say or do. And that will say that FSD is now fully ready to go. We can turn it on. It'll be out of beta. And he'll be able to take the full profit that's been sitting there on the books for all these years, and also start taking the full profit on future purchases. The number of people taking up FSD into their cars will increase. The number of people trying it on the subscription will increase. And of course, that will set up some future for Robotaxi. Okay, so that, again, I'm thinking moves the stock, not as much as the Optimist, but maybe it moves at 30 to 50 points over a week or so. It might move it more than that. Number 3, any OEM signs a deal for FSD, or better yet, as Larry Goldberg said last week, for the full operating system. One OEM signs up for FSD. You saw what happened when Ford and General Motors just signed up for the stations, for the supercharger stations. The stock went up a lot based on just that idea. Well, can you imagine when one of them signs up and says, the engineers from Tesla are now going through our system and trying to see how to fit FSD and or the entire operating system in our cars, and we will have that FSD within 6 months, 9 months, whatever, but we've signed a deal. When that happens, again, 20 points, 30 points, 50 points for the week, over a couple of weeks, maybe a lot more than that. We're talking about a significant event that you will that'll just be great. Again, these are the kind of things that would make the Apple system, the headset, kind of a minor thing compared to these massive opportunities in the billions and billions of dollars of profit. Number 4, Cybertruck handoff day but it has to have great specs, great pricing, and reasonable delivery guidance if it gets all of those things. Now, the handoff itself, the day that they announce the handoff, we might get 10 points or something like that. Then the day of the handoff, and of course, I think when they announce the handoff, they probably will announce the pricing too, but maybe not. Anyway, when we've got all of that together, when we've got all those items together, then we will see, and again, it might be in 3 or 4 stages, but altogether, it's going to be worth 10, 15, 20, 25 points. Number 5, the ribbon cutting in Mexico. Not an announcement, well, maybe with the announcement of the ribbon cutting, but I think it'll be even better when we see machinery moving around. You got the big old backhoes and other kinds of shovels and whatnot out there. You got people, they're starting to make roads, they're starting to level the ground, all this kind of stuff. When all of that starts happening, maybe it's just with the announcement, but when all that starts happening, we'll see, again, a good bounce. This will not be on the level anywhere close to the Optimist reveal, but it will be significant. It will be a giga kind of catalyst. All right, number 6 will be in the announcement that 4680 is at 100 gigawatts of capability in Austin, gigawatt hours of capability in Austin. There might be other notices before that. Maybe they'll say when they're at 50. Maybe they'll say when they made the 20 millionth cell or 100 million. I can't keep up with all this. I think of it in gigawatts. So I'd like to see that they are fully ramped on that on that first set of lines in Austin. When that happens, I think we get a 10, 20 point day, because it's not just talking about the 100 that are in Austin. That's going to say, okay, ready to start going in Reno, ready to start going in Berlin, ready to add to Austin, et cetera, et cetera. So it'll be a huge, huge deal. Number 7, any state, just one state or one country, doesn't matter, a state or a country somewhere in the world says Tesla Robotaxi is approved for use. Now, people say, and I believe this, is that California, Arizona, Nevada, and Florida pretty much will just let it happen. Not sure there's any regulations. I'm not sure there's any reason why not. Certainly in Florida and Nevada, I think that's true. But it would be better. The announcement would be cooler if Elon Musk is standing there with the governor, even if it's the governor of California, if it has to be. Anyway, sitting there with the governor of one of those states, and that governor saying, yes, Tesla FSD has been approved to be used as a robotaxi anywhere in the state. Yes, you can start doing that. Now, maybe that happens in a European country like the Netherlands. Anyway, just takes one. One of them says yes, and then everybody gets to turn on. Everybody gets to turn on their device. They get to sign up right then and say, okay, I'm putting my car in the system. It's going to be huge. Just a massive, 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 massive up day. Again, probably one of those 30, 40, 50 point up days. Number 8, when Cybertruck has multiple reviews with high praise as a work and also an off-road vehicle, not just a plaything for the rich and famous. And now that we already know that all those things are true, but every one of us wants to see some third party, some regular auto reporter who drives it, plays with it, deals with it, and then writes up a big review. Now, one serious review from a really serious player is going to do a lot of good, but it'd be nice if we had 2 or 3. When those are happening, you can see 5 points, 10 points, 20 points at a time. Maybe if it's the right reviewer, it could be 20 points all in one day. All right, number 9. This is not as big. This might be the smallest one on my list of 10. But when the India deal is inked, when we have an absolute confirmation that the property's purchased, the India has signed off, they whatever the deal is, it's got to be made, and Tesla is ready to again have that ribbon cutting. When that happens, I think we'll see one of those 20, 30 point days again, because this would be like as significant as setting up the first operation in China. You have lower labor, you have lots and lots of good factory workers, you have lots and lots of engineers, tons and tons. I think they're turning out more engineers than any other country in the world. So this would be a very, very big deal. A kind of a game changer, kind of a more subtle game changer, but definitely one that would move the stock quite a lot in a single day. And then number 10, the Q1 earnings call in January rather, the fourth quarter, which is going to be announced in January, or somewhere around the third week. When that earnings call is held, we need Elon or Zach or somebody to say our goal for this year is 2.8 million cars. And I think the public will believe it, especially if we hit the 196, 195, whatever the number is looking like right now, the numbers I've put up. Even if it's 1.9, that'd be better than 1.8. And then they say, okay, we're going for 2.8, which is what? 50% more than 2023, and way, way ahead of the 50% per year guidance given from the year 2000. So if they put a number on it at the end of the call in January, that will cause the stock to actually go up the next day. Oh no, I know, unique, right? To go up the day after a call, that would be what it would take. A nice beat would be, of course, important, but then also giving guidance in actual numbers of 2.8 million, which should be believable because you got the Cybertruck, you've got the Y still ramping, you'd have the Highland that just came out. You've had, as reported earlier this week, you've got California now with Model Y and Model 3 is number 1 and number 2 in the state of California by a lot. and you have the reality. I think that almost everybody in the automotive world, maybe even all the people who are serious about playing the stock market, everybody understands how what starts in California, what starts on the coast, rolls to the middle of the country as time goes by. And it's certainly as prices are coming down on both of these models, it is going to completely roll across the country. And you'll see where Tesla is going to have 14, 15, 16, 17% market share even before the new Gen 3 cars are released sometime later in 2024. So I think the 2.8 million car guidance needs to be said. And if that happens, the stock goes up the next day. Again, that's probably a 20-pointer, maybe even 25 points the next day, which would be such a shock to see the stock going up on the next day. Okay, so let me know what I got right. Let me know what I got wrong. I got 10 more of these. I'll do those later this week, probably more likely next week. But if you want to see them right now, you can go up to Patreon. Again, the information is down below. You just one click, you're going to go there. And it's free. You get 7 days free. So you can check out that. You can check out the YouTube videos that are up there that have never been done on YouTube. You can look at the videos up there that have never been done on YouTube. You can look at some of my spreadsheets that haven't been on YouTube yet. Lots and lots of content there that you're not seeing anywhere else, and or content that will be seen much, much later. So check it out. Go up and you got 7 days to look it over. And then if you decide to do it, it's only $5 or $10 a month. So it's not a lot. And we're shooting for 100 by Monday. And you could be part of that too. You could really help me get there. All right. Hit like, hit subscribe, hit notify. You know the reasons to hit notify, so that you get reminded of 3 videos per day coming every day, virtually every day. I think I actually had a day earlier this week where I did 4 because we had breaking news in the middle of the day that needed to be said. And then the Patreon, of course, and buy the books. Just a quick reminder, maybe you're new, maybe you haven't been on the channel before. The Elon Musk mission was written last November. It broke all kinds of news. It broke the Lathrop news. It broke the news of how quickly they'd be able to do the robots. It broke, I could go down the list. It broke news about space Starship. It broke news about Starlink. Some of that news, things have happened now, and it's old news. But lots of stuff in there, like about Starlink, about Starship, a lot of that was written by Brian Wong. A lot of that's still completely 100% current, it's still breaking news, even though we wrote it last November. Other people have not followed it up, and they should, because it's clearly going to happen. Some of it is starting to happen, but it's kind of more obscure than, let's say, an announcement about a new Model 3. The Elon Musk method, been out for 3 years now, 4 years. It's been printed in 5 languages in addition to English. I had publishers coming to me that wanted to print it in the language of their country. So it's out there in 5 different languages. Extremely successful seller. These 2 books are the second and third best-selling books ever written about Elon Musk. The companies are Elon himself. And they continue to sell every day, day after day after day. These are audio. You can get them any way you want. When Friday Isn't Payday, I wrote in 1993, but it's been updated. It's in the 3rd edition. When it first came out, Inc. magazine said it was the best small business book at the time. You might want to get a copy of that. And finally, Making Money Out of Thin Air. Making Money Out of Thin Air is for anybody, whether you're an owner of a company, you're the CFO, you're a COO, you're a manager, and you want to understand the balance sheet, you want to understand the P&L, you want to understand how to use those things to make your company more money. That's why it's called Making Money Out of Thin Air. It's like being a doctor and looking at somebody's reports, the reports that come from all the different blood tests and the electrocardiogram and everything else, and then being able to say, oh, here's what we need to do. After you've got those pieces of information, the results are just, okay, this and this and this and this. Well, it's even better in companies. It's more concrete. It's not practicing medicine. It's just math. And you can just say, oh, yeah, I think we need to raise our prices. Oh, I think we need to cut our costs. Oh, there's so many things that you can do just by doing that. So, and then maybe you just want to look at it so you can better understand how to read the P&L from Tesla every quarter when it comes out. And yeah, you got all kinds of guys on YouTube that are explaining it to you, but what if you knew how to read it and knew how to interpret it and knew what it meant in your own head and heart. Okay, so I think that's it for now. It has been fantastic talking to you.
Click the link below to get your paperback, Kindle, or audiobook now.